Hey guys, it's Amber here. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel, Plan Aloud. And today is going to be a fun recipe plan with me. I haven't done one of these in, oh my gosh, I don't know how long. I said I was going to do once a month, but that just hasn't come to fruition yet. And that is because these take a lot more effort, to say the least. But anywho, today, if you haven't read, we are going to be writing down the recipe for oatmeal raisin cookies. And yes, I do make two versions. My husband loves raisins, so I make him oatmeal raisins, and me and my son hate raisins, so I make us oatmeal cookies. So to get started, I already wrote out the title, so I'm gonna darken that in later because I don't know if I want to do it in black. I don't know if I want to do it in another color. So let me show you some of the things I will be working with. So I pulled out all my, anything to do with food. I pulled all of them out. And I just wanted to show you guys this. So this is my Kodak Zing. This honestly isn't the best photo printer. I will show you because now I want to put photos in my recipe plan with me, and you see the quality is not the greatest. It comes out, for some reason mine comes out a little on the pinkish side. I was hoping it would be brighter. Some photos come out really purple, so I'm glad this came out at least a little bit brighter. So I did print that out, and I always like to fill these sides, all my serving sides and everything in first. So I'm just gonna write in my Muji 0.38. This recipe yields 18 cookies. And the main ingredient is definitely oatmeal. I guess I'll put raisins if I'm making the raisin version. And the difficulty, I mean, it's not difficult. If you're not a baker, of course, things are more difficult, but I bake all the time. So for me, it's fairly easy. I actually prefer to bake. So prep time is about 20 minutes. Cook time, I know in my oven, it's 13 minutes, but I'm gonna put 12 to 14 minutes. And that is just depending upon your oven. Everybody's works different. And I bake these on 350. And notes, I'll put in notes later, but serve this with, of course, milk of choice. Milk of choice. So now we're gonna move on to our ingredient list. Let's go in and choose some cute little dots. I don't know how I want to decorate it. I was looking at Happy Hostess, and I was thinking of possibly using some, not that page, but some cute flags. I never really decorate these pages, and I really should. It's fun to look at decorated pages. It makes you want to use, cook more. So maybe I'll do that. Let's see if there's any. I don't think there's any dots in here per se that I would like to use. I believe the dots are either in one of these two books. Oh, see, there you go. There is the checklist dots. And should we use checklist dots? I have 13 ingredients, so I need 13 dots. Let's see. I've really been using these up. Let's see. I usually like to use the blue. I like to match this little thing up here, but I believe because all my desserts are on blue, I've used up all the blue dots. Well, let's go back into the Happy Hostess and see. I will just say I'm going to use the flags. The flags come in blue, green, orange. Okay, I'll just go between the yellow, the orange, and the red. And I'm going to use dots. Let's start with the brightest color first. I hope you guys are all doing super well. Hope you guys like recipe plans with me. I know that on other channels, like, they're not the most popular videos, but I love cooking, so I think I'm putting my dots in the right spot. Let's hope. So let's do red next. Red dots. And I just personally love to be in the kitchen. It's my comfort zone. Usually when I bake, people absolutely love it. Like, yeah, that's right. And they always tell me that I should like be selling my desserts and stuff. But to me, that's not what is fun. I like to bake to present it to like my family and friends and have them enjoy it. I feel like if it was turned into like a business thing, it wouldn't be fun anymore. Okay. I also write these out for my son. He always wants me to write out the recipes for himself when he gets older, is what he told me. So I hope that he appreciates this and he actually uses it. Maybe he'll get to the point where he doesn't need the recipe. Some of these recipes I don't even need to go back and look at because I just know. Okay, these are cricket, so I'm gonna fix them and I'm gonna write all my ingredients in and I'll be back. Okay guys, so all my ingredients are written out and I always like to read them because why not? 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed, 3 tablespoons cold water, a 1/2 cup vegan butter, a 1/2 cup brown sugar, a 1/2 cup raw sugar, 1 tablespoon vanilla extract, 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoon cornstarch, a 1/2 teaspoon salt, a teaspoon baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1.5 cups of rolled oats, and 2/3 cup of raisins, if you're using raisins. So that looks lovely. I want to get my picture in here, so I'm gonna have to cut it, even though this is already small, or maybe I should. And like in this picture, you can't even tell that I have oatmeal raisin and just oatmeal cookies. I did every other cookie was oatmeal and every other cookie was raisins. You can't even tell. So I'm just pulling out my fiskars and I am going to unfortunately have to cut my picture down. This side off too, just a little bit. I'm also going to cut a little bit off of these sides as well because it's a lot of extra space that's not really needed, you know. So I'm gonna tack this photo down into my recipe book. Extra. I think I'm gonna put it like this. Cute. So let's go into Happy Hostess and just grab one of these cute little flags. This is where I was thinking of putting it. Maybe I'll cut it. It's always so weird when I cut the flax, but I want the flax, but I don't want it super long because I don't want it to be over my actual letterings. So should have actually been doing this one, cutting it and getting it ready. Let's see. Have it kind of wrap around like this. Just some little banners in there. And now we need our step-by-step directions. I think step-by-step is in here. Yeah, like the 1, 2, 3, 4s. So we're gonna use these, and I think I'm going to alternate these colors and do the green, the teal, and the pink to just bring all those colors in here. And I did think of some notes I will write in at the same time that I'm prepping this. So I'm gonna write this in and I'll be back. All right, guys, so I finally got it all written out. So let's just go step by step. 1, you're gonna combine the ground flaxseed and the water together, and you're gonna set it aside for about 5 minutes, and it's going to gel together and create a flaxseed egg. You're gonna place your butter and your sugars into a stand mixer fitted with like the paddle, and you're going to beat it. I've actually haven't used my stand mixer for this. I use my arm power. My husband, he really needs directions, so that's why I wrote this completely out for him, and because he loves oatmeal cookies, that he wants to be able to make these himself. So I'm gonna make him use the stand mixer. Otherwise, it's gonna be a hot mess, guys. And you're gonna beat it for 3 to 4 minutes on medium until it is fluffy. And then you're gonna add in that flaxseed egg and the vanilla, and you're gonna beat it again for another minute. Step 3, you're gonna add in all the rest of your ingredients. So you're gonna add your flour, your cornstarch, salt, baking powder, cinnamon, and your oats to the mixer, and you're gonna mix it on low until the ingredients are mixed evenly, and then you're gonna add your raisins in. If you're using them, mix until it's, well combined. And at this point, your dough is still going to look wet. So you gotta transfer it to the fridge, and it's gotta sit for at least an hour. You definitely want this dough to be a lot firmer. It's not gonna be hard, but it will be firmer before you start to bake, because if you bake it immediately, they're gonna spread super, super thin, and then you're gonna have like a crisp cookie instead of a yummy chewy cookie. Unless you want a crisp cookie, that's all up to you. So then after it's been in the fridge for an hour, you can even do it overnight. I've actually made this dough for my husband so he could cook it the next day. So just as long as you put it in that fridge for at least an hour. So our 4th step, you're gonna preheat that oven to 350, and then you're gonna line your baking sheet. You can use parchment paper, or I have those silicone mats, so that's what I use. And put the silicone mats down, and you're going to drop 2 tablespoons in a heap on the cookie sheet, like regular cookie, like a sugar cookie or a chocolate chip cookie. You roll it into a dough before you put it down. But for the oatmeal cookies, because it has oats in it, they're never going to be in these perfect shapes. So you can just drop it in that 2 tablespoon heap. You want to make sure they're spaced at least 2 inches apart, because they will spread a little bit. Sometimes they'll be a little bit thicker, but you can always flatten the top of your cookie down so that, it's not as big. So you don't have a fat cookie, you have a thinner cookie, but honestly, it's going to taste the same regardless. It just depends on how I want my cookie to look when I bake it. Sometimes I leave it in the heap so I have a really tall cookie, and then sometimes flatten it out a little bit so that I have a flatter looking cookie. Okay, step 5, which is our last step. You're going to bake the cookies 12 to 14 minutes, depends on your oven. I know my oven, 13 minutes is, and that's for any cookie I bake. It's always 13 minutes, or until the edges of your cookie just start to brown. Once you pull them out the oven, you're gonna allow them to cool at least 5 minutes on the baking sheet. I usually do 10 minutes, and then I transfer it to a cooling rack and let them cool off completely before I store them. I store them in Ziploc bags. I store them in plastic containers or glassware. These cookies will last easily a week or longer. I never put my cookies in the fridge or anything. I just leave them on our counter. Actually, I have a glass dish, you know, like the glass stand dishes, and that's what I usually put all of my baked goods in. And even in there with just the glass covering, they'll last easily 4 to 5 days without them starting to get dried out and, yeah, you know, kind of dry. Usually they don't last that long because my husband and son have the worst sweet tooth I have ever known a man, and they gobble them up. So I don't make too many desserts because of that reason. I also said I was gonna do notes, but when I was reading, you know, going over my recipe, I was thinking about my chocolate chip cookies where everything needs to be cold, not my oatmeal cookies. Oatmeal cookies should be preferably room temperature. I will make a note of that because I didn't write that over here. Definitely want your butter to be room temperature before mixing. And because I want this to be cute, we're gonna go back into Happy Hostess, and this is in all of my books, to be perfectly honest. I want to put a stand mixer because I say use a stand mixer. Let's look in this one. I want to get one that matches the colors. Unfortunately, these stand mixers are purple, which definitely does not work. So we have them in all the colors. Let's do blue because we want our stand mixer. Stand mixer, and then let me go into, which book is it? I think, let's see, maybe it's this one. One of them, there's a page of like cookies, and they're not necessarily oatmeal cookies. I believe they're chocolate chip, to be perfectly honest. I don't really use my food books too much. I need to start filling it out. I have so many recipes, guys, and I'm not getting any younger, and I really want the recipes to be down, you know? So if I want them down, I gotta write them. Let me see if there's like a little glass of like milk or something. All of our wine and our champagne. I don't know if you guys can hear, but it's super windy here. Yeah, like the wind is like beyond right now. So I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. But let's just take a little cup of coffee. Because trust, you can eat these with coffee or like a hot tea. Oh, so good. Let's put that down. Milk of choice. Coffee. Or, oops, dang it. That's the only thing about these pages. Like if you make a writing mistake on this side, you can't white it out. Like when I'm writing this side out, like you can see I've made a couple mistakes because I always make mistakes. All right, so I have this Erin Condren. It's a red pen. Should I use the pen part or the marker part? When I'm looking at it, when I get to the marker part right here, I'm just like, I don't think so. So let's use the pen part. And I'm just writing over, and then I will erase it once it's dry which is gonna be like well after this video. I don't know how long it takes these pins to dry, to be perfectly honest, so I don't want it to smudge, so I'm gonna wait like 5 minutes just to like be on the like cautious side. Oatmeal cookies. I feel I don't know why, but I feel like I want some confetti. I think there's confetti in here. This one, almost positive I see like little confettis, and if there are, like, I want to use some. Don't know why. I swore I've seen some. Cue the confetti. See, here we are. I must have passed this page not realizing it. This is the first page that I've made that's like super fun and decorative. All my other pages have been like kind of sad. Let's move that one since it's so close to the other one. Let's put it right there. And let's put a confetti here. All right, you can see where I've like, I wrote it earlier and then I erased it, and it is not looking good. All right, guys, so that is this month's plan with me, my meal recipe plan with me. I absolutely love it. I love how this came out. I hope you guys did too. I hope you guys recreate these cookies if you haven't found a good oatmeal raisin cookie recipe, regardless if you're vegan or not. I believe to make this non-vegan, you just need 1 egg and it would work. You cannot quote me on that because I haven't made it that way. I've only made it this way. But I do create a fake egg for the recipe. So that's the only reason why I would say it can be transferred. The other reason why this makes this vegan is because I use raw sugar as opposed to regular sugar. Regular sugar is cooked over, I believe, animal bones, and that's what makes it non-vegan, and that's what makes it refined sugar. So I honestly would use raw sugar just because it's not refined. The sugar is just, you know, it's a better quality. You know, it all does the same thing. But just so you know, like, the difference. Anywho, let me show you everything I used to create this super fun page. Just know that I use this Kodak zinc for my photo, and then for the books I surprisingly only used a handful of a little bit of these books. So I used Happy Hostess, Food Elements, and I believe I used Recipe. I used this recipe one, almost positive. Maybe I used both. Yep, I used both recipe books. So I used recipes, and then I used recipe accessory book. I think the only one I didn't use was this one. So I did not use food in yellow. I just used the food in green. And if you guys like this, you should definitely give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment, click the notification so you'll be notified when I post content. Thanks again, and remember to have a beautiful one.